Item 1, to see if the townspeople, on the recommendation of the Board of Finance, will appropriate $140,000 from the reserve fund to capital project account 04-4036 for the purpose of purchasing Infinite Vision's general accounting and PR/HR software by Tyler Technologies for the town's schools. Item 2, should the townspeople adopt the PA 490 open space ordinance for the town of Willington. Item 3, to see if the townspeople, on the recommendation of the Board of Finance, will authorize the appropriation of $10,000 from the general fund to provide in supplementary funding to Willington Hill Fire Department. Such funds will be in addition to those funds already allocated in the department's 2019-2020 annual budget and will be used to maintain property at 25 Old Farms Road. Item 4, to see if the townspeople, on the recommendation of the Board of Finance, will authorize the appropriation of $50,000 in supplementary funding to Willington Hill Fire Department. Such funds will be in addition to those funds already allocated to the department's 2019-2020 annual budget and will constitute the town's contribution to the department's repayment of loans received as part of the department's purchase of 25 Old Farms Road, dated at Willington, 18th day of November 2019. I would entertain a motion for the moderator.
With no discussion, we'll now vote on the item. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we're going to consider that.
Okay, sorry, of course, I did. Yeah. Okay, so no discussion. Item 2. Shall the townspeople adopt a PA 490 open space ordinance for the town of Willington? Can you hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, who moved? Item 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any discussion?
Is it possible here that we vote on any ordinance spread? We have a copy of the ordinance.
Resolved, each parcel of record as recorded in the assessment records shall be treated as a separate parcel. No tacking or combination of separately assessed parcels shall be permitted to determine the eligibility of the parcel for open space. Any residentially zoned parcel that exceeds 5 acres is eligible for treatment as open space for assessment purposes. No property for which the assessment is determined pursuant to the terms of Section 12-76 of the Connecticut General Statutes, as it may be amended from time to time, shall be eligible. The property owner must make application for open space assessment as provided in the Connecticut General Statute 12-107E, as it may be amended from time to time, effective October 1st, 2019.
Could somebody come up with the current open space ordinance at this time?
There is no current ordinance.
So, just to clarify, so anyone who has 5 acres of land at this point, or less, can be considered open space. So this is going to affect many people in our town.
Walter Topliff, I'm the assessor here in town of Willington. Let me give you a little history of how we got here today, okay? I first started about a year ago, and a taxpayer came in and said I had 4.5 acres of land, and we have people that are less than 5 acres receiving open space, and I got denied open space. So we started a search. And we went through all the records, all the way back to the early 70s, looking for the documents and the town meeting where open space was adopted. And it was never adopted. They talked about it in the planning of conservation and development, and they talked about this 5-acre open space number. And so we researched it, and it wasn't applied equally among the people that are receiving open space. And as an assessor, I have to treat everybody equitably and the same here in the town. So I approached the administration, and we went back to the POCD and the Planning and Zoning Commission and got a recommendation for an open space ordinance so we could comply with the law. Well, we did that, and we came up with this resolution of adopting this tonight. Now, I want to be clear, if we don't adopt this tonight, everybody will be, all their open space classifications will be taken away, and at some future date, if the town body wants to pursue open space, they may. But everybody that is currently receiving the benefit will cease receiving the benefit going for the October 1st, 19. So that'll affect July 2020 taxes. Now, if you think you do want open space, but you think this drafted ordinance, isn't to your liking, you could adopt it tonight, and then you could go through the process through the POCD, Planning and Zoning Commission, bring it back to the Board of Selectmen, and amend. This is tonight.
And for procedure, you're saying that if we don't adopt the ordinance, we will lose all our open space. Does this mean you're going back in time to collect all the back taxes that the town has not collected because we did not have the ordinance?
No.
Now,
October 1st, 19.
all right, so we don't need to pick it up. We're just saying that we should. You don't need, we think we could remain exactly as we are and tax exactly.
No, because then you'd be asking me to not follow the law. And once I'm aware that the law is being not followed, I have to follow.
Thank you. That's clarified.
Yes.
The plan of conservation and development specifically says 5 undeveloped acres. And this ordinance doesn't appear to match that, which kind of defeats the purpose, the whole point of this from the plan of conservation and development. And so that's my issue with this, is because, again, it's not doing what the plan of conservation and development. I'm just curious why you didn't include the 5 undeveloped acres as was recommended.
The plan of conservation development currently does not say 5 acres anywhere. I was told that, I went back and read it. I went back to the Board of Selectmen, and I said, where did you go? I asked where the 5 acres came from. They said the plan of conservation and development. I read the plan of conservation and development. I couldn't find it. I went back and asked them to refer me to the page where it says 5 acres. Nowhere. They never got back to me, so I'm assuming it's not there. So I think the 5 acres is currently a random capricious number.
Well, to continue my question though, if the whole purpose of is giving tax abatement that people are leaving land undeveloped, that's what they're debating for, it doesn't seem to make much sense in the plan for conservation development to have a half-acre here and 2 acres here, and the whole point is to have a large enough piece of land that has some positive effect on the overall.
That's where the 5-acre threshold is. So you need 5 acres to be eligible to enter the open space program in Willington. But an example would be the 1.84 acres would be pulled out for the house and the 3.16 or 17 because it says over in the present ordinance, so it had to be 3.17 would be eligible.
You could have 4.8 acres developed and half an acre not developed, and you could get a big for that half an acre.
No, you could not. The first threshold is you need 5 acres.
Right, I'm saying if you have 5.3 acres and you have 4.8 acres developed, you could get an abatement for 0.5 acres.
Yes, you can.
And
go tonight, PA 490 goes away, and then you have to start the whole process over again.
But the plain meaning of this question is that shall we adopt an ordinance? It doesn't say what the ordinance is. The ordinance is within the four corners of the document. And so by the plain meaning of it, the only question here is, should we obey the law? I don't think we need a meaning for that question. So I think that the holistic meaning of this question is, should we adopt the ordinance that was given to us by the Board of Selectmen? Now, the Board of Selectmen is not the legislative body of the town. This town committee, the town meeting is the legislative body. We should be passing an ordinance, not passing a question, should we follow the law? I think that's self-evident. I think this question is poorly worded at best. Also, the ordinance mentions that none of the other stuff that the plan of conservation and development took into account, whether there's slopes, whether there's archaeological value to the land, whether it's in a water table, whether it's part of a greenway. It takes into account none of that. I think that at the very minimum, there should be some kind of process through the zoning board of appeals to get that changed. That's what the law says under public statute 12107E, which is referred to in the in the statute itself. So that if I have less than 5 acres, that I can go to the zoning board of appeals to get my open space. I think that should be the part that I clearer in this in the ordinance itself. I think we should be voting on the ordinance. I don't think we should be voting on whether we should follow the law. I think that's self-evident. Yeah, but it's not the four corners of the document, and that's not what's on this piece of paper that we're voting on. Read what's on the paper that you're voting on. That's all that you're voting on.
Mr. Plessy.
It is. It's not further. That's not what the question says.
State acceptance, couple things here. Mr. Coppell said, so that we don't pass this ordinance tonight, the time rolling, we're all going to have to fill our houses, move out. If we don't pass this tonight, we lose all our open space. As of October 1st, so we're now a little over 2 months past that deadline. But if we don't pass it tonight and we try another one and pass it a month from now, well, that's too late. We just lost. Only we had done it on the night of December 2nd. It's no storm. Yeah. And also this exception to the fact, as Mr. Tanaka said, all it says out there is should we pass this ordinance. Now, is there any
ordinance? It just says an ordinance.
Is there any option here? I don't know. See, the people just coming here tonight and they're not quite sure the ordinance is coming up, and they move in here and get ready to that ordinance, they're going, what is that? And it doesn't really tell you what it's going to do. In any case, I'm willing to pass an ordinance. And I asked for a version of the ordinance that would still satisfy everybody, only a version that would grandfather in those who have already been given this tax rebate. And I think that's fair. And so we had 2 ordinances. And the first one came up at the Board of Selectmen meeting, and one of the selectmen made a motion for the ordinance to grandfather it. And I said, okay, I'm going to have that up second, and we voted, passed. And then a couple weeks later, we almost didn't get to discuss it, but we did get to discuss it at the selectmen meeting. And the other selectman said, you know, I made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. I didn't mean this. satisfy the need for ordinance. And if you want to have to read the minutes and you want to know what the ordinance is, depends on which minute you read. There was one minute in October which granted grandfather and another one later on which rescinded that. So this has been fully handled. I believe the ordinance should be on the call, so anyone can research it prior to the night that they get here. So, really unhappy, and I'm voting no to suggest everybody do simply on the case of this.
You say you voted no?
Yes, I'm going to vote no.
So all of the townspeople would have my contact plan.
Okay, thank you. I see another people here.
Excuse me, whatever that gentleman just said after Lexington, we couldn't hear you. They stand up and say,
So the way that I'm going to do it is if we vote no, then we would back to
Yes. There's not enough time to do
This is
this,
one court.
because there's no ordinance in place.
No ordinance in place next week. All that's fine.
By statute, I am the authority in the state of Connecticut for the town of Willington as the appointed assessor. And that authority rests with me to follow the law that the statutes are written.
As you read it. So it's not the state, you.
No, it's the state of Connecticut. It's the law that's in place.
I haven't seen that law yet.
The statute. The statute reads,
so
the
you
state action of any municipality in preparing plan conservation development for such municipality may designate upon such plan which it recommends for preservation of areas of open space land, provided such designation is approved by a majority vote of the legislative body of such municipality. Until this time, there has been no vote by the legislative body to designate open space. We are now aware of that issue. Going forward, we would be asking our assessor to break the law.
No, we would be asking our assessor to not, well, I'm not sure what we'd be asking him. I don't see anything in the law that says that no one can have measure. And
In order to receive the PA 490 open space classification, there has to have been an ordinance or resolution passed by the majority of the legislative body. That is town meeting in the town of Willington.
okay.
That has never happened.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
I don't think we need the back and forth. If you want to speak, raise your hand so that I can get, some of you I know, some of you I don't know. So I'm taking minutes, I want to know who's talking. So if we can just stop the back and forth, and whoever's the next person to raise your hand, Jean will call on you, okay? Can you just state your name? State your name.
Joe. I'm just curious, so this is not, people who are already benefiting from this are not being grandfathered in? Is that what I'm understanding?
How can you grandfather something that was never in place?
All right, so if they're already receiving benefits and they purchased their home, they're receiving those benefits, now they're going to get a tax on top of that, just based on, I'm not sure what this is, because this doesn't make sense, I'm not just confused. You keep reiterating that this is the law, this is the law, this is the law. So if this is the law, which we're not going to discuss, the law is the law, you said this is what it's got to be, otherwise, there's no discussion.
No, there's an implementer. There's an implementer in the law. PA 490 consists of three components: forest, farm, and open space. Forest and farm are statewide. Every town must abide by those statutes. That's 12107 C and D. E is open space.
So just for clarification, if we vote no on it, everyone's going to lose that benefit anyway. If we vote yes on it, a good chunk of people are still going to lose that.
There's like
So this
68
way,
people.
it's a lose-lose.
There's 68 people that would not receive it in the future out of 327.
I personally am not affected by this, but I just don't see how it's just and fair to say, hey, we're going to tax on this, we're going to tax on the school, we're going to tax on each spending on one shot. It just doesn't make any sense.
So let me clarify my role in this as the assessor, okay? I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care which way we go. I just want to treat all the townspeople equitably and under the same set of rules. So somebody comes in and doesn't say, I have 4.5 acres and I don't receive it. This guy's got 0.39 acres and he's receiving it. I can't have that. That puts me in a very bad spot. I'm asking the townspeople to make a decision. Yes, we want to have this program, and it's important to us to have, open space in terms of stifling development, so nobody's forced to sell their land to build houses, that they can hold on to their acreage. That was the whole point of the PA 490 when it was adopted back in 1963. But to me, I don't care which way we go. I really don't. I'm only asking the townspeople for clarification on what we do. That's.
I agree with Pete.
Could you state your name, please?
Judy Creek, Vancouver, Middle Lane. I agree with Pete Napa and the way item 2 is worded. It says, should we adopt the proposed ordinance? It's yes or no. It doesn't say, should we adopt that piece of paper on the counter over there, because it's not included in the forefront of the document. And I think if you have the town lawyer take a look at that, he will tell you the same thing. You can't adopt an ordinance that's not put in the law. You can't adopt an ordinance that's not promoted and publicized well before the meeting. You have to include it. And it's not even included by reference. It's not included anywhere. You can't, this is a yes or no. And I agree with you.
So the ordinance that was read and has been through the Board of Selectmen is the ordinance in which we're being asked about procedurally. We've been to multiple town meetings where the question is posed just how you see it. The ordinance is available, and the question has been before the town meeting, should we adopt an ordinance for and what the ordinance is for. It is not unusual for it to be worded this way, and it is not commonplace to have the question include the entire language of the ordinance. John, you can disagree with me or not, but the last ordinance passed was for sexually oriented businesses. It was a multi-page ordinance, and the question was simply, should we adopt an ordinance on da. So this did go through our town attorney.
Is this a particular question that's the town attorney? I didn't get it. This is a particular question, and he said that this question as read right here will legally put that ordinance on the police counter into effect.
Right. The ordinance that was voted on by the Board of
I just want to clarify, I know Mr. Blessington, the concern is that people who are getting the abatement, it would be unfair to stop it. Those people have gotten an unfair advantage for however many years, and I don't think it's fair to other people in town who have the same acreage who are not given that benefit. So I think we need to start with a clean slate. And yes, those people might lose it temporarily until if we, modify this, or if it doesn't pass today, we come up with another one that people want to pass. But I don't think people should be grandfathered for this. We never had an ordinance, and they ended up with this great benefit for however many years that they shouldn't have been getting. So the fact that we didn't pass an ordinance and it was somehow not noticed over the years, and now we've noticed that we don't have an ordinance, then I think, it's not fair to people who don't have that benefit. So that's where I am.
Yeah, I've heard this argument. Well, these people who were getting these abatements were taking unfair advantage. Those poor people who might come to those circumstances that allow invasion, we're not giving the invasion. It's not possible that we should have been giving them the invasion, and then everything would have been fair and equal.
I didn't say it was an unfair advantage.
I would take the second and or.
Well, you're saying the grandfather in for ordinance we've never heard of.
All due respect to the first selectman, this is a highly unusual process. We don't have the document we're acting upon in front of us, the statute or the ordinance. We've had two highly chaotic selectmen's meetings where there were different versions of the ordinance acted upon.
Peter, could you just stand up and turn this so we can hear you and try to hear?
Sorry. I'm stating for the public record that this is a highly unusual process by any standard. Our town does not function this way. We have no documents in front of us tonight to act upon. We're acting like this is a public hearing with all sorts of conversation that we should have had a public hearing. Our selectmen didn't afford us an opportunity for a public hearing. We're here at the only town meeting I'm aware of on this issue is this. Prior to that, there were discussions at selectmen's meetings. This is inappropriate. The town, our town of Willington has always acted in a manner where we have discussions at selectmen's meetings, that lead to public hearings, that lead to town meetings, and questions of major importance are decided at a referendum. Now, the town meeting, in a snowstorm, in a holiday, is highly irregular, it's highly unusual, it's highly inappropriate. This question should have due discussion. Everyone here seems genuinely confused. We should have a public hearing on this matter, not a town meeting where we had a tax assessor who stated to us he can unilaterally impose financial penalties on all of us because he says so. I see no documentation anywhere tonight that that's true. Nothing from the town attorney other than vague references to statutes. I strongly suggest that we follow our normal process, which is board of selectmen meetings, town hearing, public discussion, and referendum. Thank you.
Hello, Ted Norman, I'm Barrett Parks. I just would like to know how the town would present paperwork for PA 490 if it wasn't enacted. The people who make financial decisions, our attorneys have looked at our mortgages and everything associated with purchasing a property and made decisions based on the PA 490 that the town, even in ads for the houses, it says, this property is under PA 490 as an incentive to purchase that property. The big financial decisions are made based on, it was public, it was in public ads, and the town hall offered a document and say, you can, as long as you did, you can have PA 490, you can have this document of the first
I can't speak to, what went on before I started here, but I don't know how they even came about without going through this process. I have no answers for that. All I know is I know it's not in place. We did an exhaustive search. We looked for it. It's not there. We went back.
Well, I think they have documentation showing that they're under PA 490, and
Right.
it can't be taken away, my understanding, until the property is sold.
Mike McCoo, Clover Springs Drive. I just want to make sure I understand the process. I'm hearing a lot of questions on the process here. Unless the moderator decides that this meeting is out of order, we only have one choice. It's an up or down vote. Am I correct? We only have one choice. So if it's an up vote, if it's a positive vote, then there's potentially 60-some people who will lose their abatement because we're trying to make this process correct.
That's correct.
If it's a down vote, it's a negative vote, all 300 lose.
Yes.
368, okay. So whatever it is, so either everyone loses it or somebody loses it. Those are our only choices tonight unless the moderator decides this meeting's out of order, right? Or there's a defect in the process.
I'm here to answer questions about people.
Oh, well,
so, process.
I mean, this is only an up or down vote. It's not like we can't stop the vote. It's our process here unless unless we can agree
it's been
the
properly
process is
noticed.
broken.
It's been properly noticed that there's a vote.
So I say we debate the merits of the yes and no, not whether we should be here tonight, because none of us really wants to spend the whole night here.
And all the taxpayers will know.
They will be after tonight's vote.
How can we notify it?
The meeting was more.
The meeting.
Hands, please.
On chapter 17, Ms. Carson, Peter, to your notation, you had the right, since this was called, to get a petition together to take this to referendum. And you didn't do that. So that's not a conversation you should be having at this time. Insofar as the open space, I was involved in putting together the two POCDs that we had over the years. I've been here for 28 years. There's flaws in this, and it's not exactly what the group that put together the POCD, both of them, had in mind. However, I think Mr. Latu is right with his comment. If we vote yes, everything, especially for the large landowners, stays the same. We can go back and we can massage this so that the ordinance reads as more people would like it to. And I'm one of those people who's involved with land conservation and development. And open space is paramount. And the townspeople have told us that both times when we asked for input for the plans and conservation and development. So let's vote yes on this. That would be a positive move. Next time, Peter, get out and get your petition signed so you can take it to referendum and call and quell your fears. And I think we can all move forward. Thank you.
I just had a question. I made a reference to the PO48 and it includes forest and farmland as well. Is that already taken care of, or is that part of this?
No, that's separate because that is automatic as long as you meet the statute requirements, and there's different requirements for each. But then statewide, the only open space, the municipalities have the option to adopt it or not. And many have and many have not throughout the state. So this is a local issue only, and that's why it needs to go to a town vote.
And my other question is, does this leave the state, I mean, the town vulnerable if we do not pass an ordinance for open space and then continue offering open space?
Yes. Somebody could bring a legal challenge to it, and the town could be liable for that, yes.
What's the criteria for the 68? Yes. For the 68?
What, I don't understand the
Parcel
question.
over 5 acres.
So these are parcels that would be under 5 acres that wouldn't meet the acreage stated in the proposed ordinance.
So if it goes through, if we adopt it, and we have more than 5 acres, you're not going to lose.
You're not losing anything.
No,
Right. Right. It's those parcels that are under 5 acres that would be a jeopardy.
Here is where we were. 63, 68, 58 parcels. What is the aggregate total of the acreage?
I don't think I have that.
hear.
So the question was, of the 68 parcels, what was the aggregate total of the acreage for the parcels in jeopardy? I don't have the answer to that question.
I got one question for you. I know in the town of Hampshire, and just along, you should know the answer. They took and did something like this, but people, which I ain't got a lot of money, I just got a building. Somehow they, when they went to the town, they wound up taking 40% of their land for open space, if they subdivide.
That's a different statute. That's under the building statute. So what that allows is when you go for your plans to for a subdivision, they could say you could build your houses closer together, but we have to have this land put in open space. That's a totally different statute than what we're talking about.
Okay, just along, because people don't know what they're voting.
Right. So that would fall under the subdivision statutes. That's not in that. This is not that.
Because I think a lot of people with the land is really concerned.
Sure.
Once when they vote, like Mansfield changed it around. I know there was some farms over there and stuff the family had, and they tried to break it up through the family members, and they had to get 40%. They got the land, but they got to pay every 40% of the land.
Got put in the open space.
Open space.
Right, which is conservation.
Had to pay taxes.
Right, which was conservation.
Just along that age.
Yep. No, that's not in here.
Okay.
One thing that I would like to hear from you all, you say there's 68 people that are, they're under 5 acres. Okay. What is the dollar impact on those properties? Because I think that's a very important number. Run through a quick calculation for us so that we can understand what the impact is.
Okay, so
let's take a 4-acre parcel that currently has some of the open space. I'm going to back out 1.84, that's a building. The remainder is going to be 2.16, right?
So 2.16, the difference between excess residential land and open space is about $700 in assessment. So 700 times $20.
That's the impact on that particular case. That's what that property owner is going to have to cost.
So it's about 40 bucks.
It's going to cost you 40 bucks a year.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's an important consideration for everybody here. I understand that you may have had this for a long time and you've enjoyed it, great. But to try to make things fair and equitable, to make his job easier, maybe people can live with that. I'm not going to judge for those that are going to lose it, but it's a consideration that I think all of us need to factor into this equation. I think the process is flawed, as has been said. I think a informational public hearing to get feedback before you write the ordinance would have been very beneficial. To rely on all the people in this town to sit down every other week and read the minutes of these meetings that, and sometimes going to many, many pages, it's just not going to happen. People just don't do that. People have the time, they have other more important things in their life. So, if we let this go, what does it take to initiate the steps to get this on the Board of Selectmen's agenda again? How many signatures on the petition to bring this up to the Board of Selectmen? 25?
It's 25 signatures to bring an item to town meeting.
Okay. We take 25 signatures here tonight to bring this to the town meeting again if we had a petition written. Now I'm talking about altering the one that it did. If everyone votes yes on this tonight. Yes, but we already know what the penalty is for the 68 people, or we have an idea what the penalty is for 68 people. All I'm saying is, you have 2 ways to go. You can blow out everybody's current open space by voting this down. Or you can vote yes. 60-some odd property owners are going to face a bit ahead. But we have an opportunity to streamline it. And it may be one tax cycle, people are going to get hit, but we can fix it. But we need participation from everybody to do that. That's all I'll say right now.
Yes, Carol Lamar, 49 Cold Spring Drive. And I agree with Mike McCoo about 300 versus 60. I'm one that's going to be barely, I'm at 27 acres. So to me, that would be very fair compared to people that have 3 acres and then you get this tax abatement. Really, not right. So I would have a problem. I'm not sure why Mr. Wasn't do you think that's great enough to vote everybody down, but I think that would be a big mistake.
Well, thank you again. While I was researching this when it first came up, I made a calculation. I don't know how good the calculation was because I'm not a
Stand up and speak out.
Okay, I made a calculation. I'm not sure how good the calculation was because I'm not a professional assessor, but the numbers did the best they could. And I came up with would be $130 per acre for people who are so affected. Tonight, here it would be maybe $20, $40 per acre. That is a big difference. But the thing is, I always did the calculations and top of, so, oh, yes, so he's just checking off the top of the head.
It's a misrepresentation, but.
That's how I hear it. People can decide whether that's. Anyway, we're getting to the end of this, but still get a feeling that it's kind of like extortion, that's not that you can't stuff in that. And that's part of the reason I'm voting no.
And call for a vote. Second.
We're voting back for that. On the call.
Madam Speaker, would you allow a few minutes for the president to speak? Not on this topic. We'll just the president speak and give it for time, now only 2 minutes.
Not tonight, sir.
Peter Willington, 19 Fast Road, Madam River Left 4. I didn't hear a motion to close discussion.
I move to close discussion.
I move to have the floor before discussion closed.
There was a call for a vote.
When was the vote to close discussion? We didn't have it. So discussion was still open.
Well, we're not voting, nobody's making a motion to vote. On the call, it says we're voting by paper ballot. So we
I
can open-
understand.
Correct, so I think I'm not any legal advice, I'm not a lawyer, but I would just assume that we're not voting, so I don't think discussion's closed. I think you should have a moment to speak and then somebody should.
Point of order. We have a motion on the floor that is not defective. The motion on the floor is to call the question. It doesn't mean you have to vote by hand or by voice. So I think we have to vote the motion first, up or down, on calling the question. If that passes, then we've stopped discussion effectively on this and people can vote on paper and move on. I believe that's the correct way to handle it.
Okay.
There's 60 registered voters in the room.
All those opposed? The ayes to the vote for yes. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next item on the call. Now, I just want to inform you, in case you haven't heard, that the two items, number 3 and number 4, have been, there was a petition was delivered, and these two items are going to be going to a referendum. But we still have discussion.
Yes, yes.
Mike McCoo for Willington Hill Fire Department. After that comment there, jump right in. I'm just going to very quickly go over what the fire department is looking for, so when you go to referendum, you have an idea of what we're asking for.
Okay, I would ask that you allow me to read the item before you.
I have the signatures here. If anybody would like to see them. So everybody knows. There's 206 signatures that were verified.
So let me read the item. Mr. McCoo, on these questions, we're going to allow you 2 minutes to speak. Item 3, receive the townspeople on the recommendation of the Board of Finance to authorize the appropriation of $10,000 to provide supplementary funding to the Willington Fire Department. Such funds will be in addition to those funds already allocated in the department's 2019-2020 annual budget and will be used to maintain coverage and provide for the farm's work.
Willington Hill Fire Department has been on Old Farms Road for 67 years. We've been raising money for all that time. And,
Can you put it to the voter flag? We can't hear what he's saying.
okay.
Sorry, I just started this because Peter was leaving.
Okay, as I was saying, Willington Hill Fire Department has existed since 5 people met on the front steps of the old town hall and decided to put it together. They were gutsy, optimistic people. They said we need to serve this part of the town, and they started the fire department. It was completely privately funded in the early days, but then they discovered they could not run a fire department legally for a municipality without public funding. That's when public funding started. These days, you obviously can't run a service like this without public funding. So the department still has those two sides. We have the private side, fundraising, large donations from people's estates, and we've invested that money wisely. We fund a lot of things that are not paid for by the taxpayers with that money. We fund the stipend program for our members, which gives points for their amount of service they provide. We funded the addition that's on the, I guess it must be the east end of the building, closest to Y Road. We paid for that with private funds because the money wasn't available from the town. The Easter egg hunt, you know all the things that we do. The public side, the publicly funded side, your taxpayer dollars are paying for the fire trucks, the equipment we use, the safety equipment, the fuel we burn, the oil to heat the building, things like that. We have been for years looking for money and an opportunity to build a better station, a bigger station, have a bigger piece of property. We're constantly wrangling with zoning and with space issues on the property we're on, the piece of property. We had an opportunity many times over the years. We've met with selectmen, the Board of Finance, zoning and all that. We've looked at different pieces of property, we've applied for federal grants, nothing's panned out. Over this past winter, January, we came up with the idea, as the price had come down a little on the church property, St. Jude's Church, to try to negotiate. It was way out of our price range, but we thought maybe we could do something. We had 3 months of secret negotiations. That's the only part of this thing that has been in secrecy, and that was under the advice of our attorney. Do not negotiate for a property deal in public because you're going to get a lot of input that is going to complicate the thing. We are a private nonprofit. We negotiated, we got an amazing price on that property. It was originally listed at $650, we got them down to $350. We put up $300,000 of that private money. We are asking the taxpayers to partner with us to put up the other $50,000 that we need. In the meantime, we borrowed that $50,000 because we asked the town, starting in March, and you can see it took 9 months to get to this point. We had to borrow the money to close. We're now asking for the town to give the money to this process so that we can pay off those loans, own the property free and clear, and another $10,000 for maintenance and insurance, and that's what's allowing us to keep the property open right now for things like trunk or treat, where we use the whole parking lot. The insurance company says we can reduce your insurance if you close the parking lot. We're a community service organization. We never want to close the parking lot. We don't want to give that up, but that's the situation we're in, and that's a very quick summary. Happy to give you much more detail. Hopefully that's close to 2 minutes.
Who put up the $50,000 for the paper sale?
We have two $25,000 mortgages that were recorded in the town land records when we made the closing for those, and One of the gentlemen who put up $25,000 is a longtime older member of the department, has been in both departments actually in town, and the other person was a private citizen.
Can you share with us who those people were, the names?
Well, if you really, I mean, it's a matter of public record.
It's public record, somebody
Yes.
can look it up, so we can tell.
Right, yes. So Samuel Wheeler, who is the member of the fire department, who has been in both departments, who put up $25,000, and James McCoo is the citizen who put up the other $25,000. You're welcome.
The fire departments, both of them do a great job, and I have nothing against the fire departments, but as a recent member of the Board of Finance, and we're always struggling with paying for things in Willington. We have a CIP list that we have items that have been put on the back burner for 15, 20 years, and we never get to pay for. And my issue is the town needs to have a long-term plan. If the town decides that they want to build a fire department on the hill, then that's a great use of the town's money. But right now, we don't have that plan, and I don't feel that as much as I support the fire departments, and you know, Mike, that I appreciate everything you do, I just don't think that the town should be spending money for something that's not part of the town's plan. So that's my say.
Yeah, I responded to that directly to one of the things she said there. We totally agree on the long-term planning thing, and we have participated in that process. As I said before, we've met repeatedly with different pieces of property. We've applied for FEMA grants. We've had meetings we even had a joint meeting with Selectmen, Board of Finance, and Zoning about 15 years ago when we had an opportunity that didn't pan out. Also, in the capital plan, you were talking about things getting pushed out and waiting to be funded. This is one of those items. I looked back quickly in the boxes of junk in my basement of things that say to be sorted out, and I have a lot of them. And I found old capital plans from the town of Willington, 2009, I found in 2007, a couple other years. In every one of those years, the Willington Fire Department had requested money for land and/or for building a station, including the request for the current CIP plan that exists right now. The money had been requested. Many years it's been put in the plan in out years, like you said. But we are participating in that planning process. Difference being, the request we had made for this fiscal year was $5.5 million for land, construction, everything. And we put it 5 years out in the plan. That was our request. And all we're asking for right now is $50,000, and one of the values of this property for planning reasons is that the church building exists already, which we would not take down. We would add on to that building. So we're assuming we're going to save $500,000, perhaps in construction there, maybe $400,000. So it is part of the planning process, and it is part of the process we participated in with the town and CIP and all that since the beginning of CIP.
Maybe I have all my facts wrong, but I see standing before us advocating for the fire department, but I also see the chairman of the Board of Finance standing before us now advocating for the fire department. You're wearing two hats. I think you should excuse yourself. That's a conflict of interest. The chairman of the board is saying that the Board of Finance is recommending this, and you as a firefighter are standing up and saying, please give it to us.
No, I'm standing up in front of you as a taxpayer representing the fire department. Until that comment, I did not represent the Board of Finance at all, and I'm not. Right. Just like the first selectman has 3 members in the fire department, just like people on the Board of Finance have had members on the Board of Education. It's a small town. We all cross paths. And by the way, this has been vetted with the town attorney, and the town attorney's response was, is there a financial interest for the person? There's no financial interest for me. My participation in the fire department costs me money, costs me time with my family. I do not receive the stipend. I do not receive the tax abatement. There is no financial interest for me, and that is what the town attorney said is the key factor in the state ethics laws. I did not say to this group, I'm the chairman of the Board of Finance and I want you to vote for this.
But you still are in that debate, and that has an influence, and you can't deny that. And when you were on the Board of Finance, you not recuse yourself as a not having the interest in the vote.
The only thing I voted on was when the vote was to move the language provided by the selectmen from the Board of Finance back to the selectmen so that the meeting could be called. That's the only thing I voted on. In the earlier time, when the fire department came to the Board of Finance and asked for this money back in March or April, I recused myself from those votes. Yes. So what we would see happening is the $50,000, and also for the people wondering what this effect is on your taxation, in this current fiscal year, the $50,000 would come from money that you've already been taxed on. So it affects your taxation because you've already paid for it. It's in it would not change your taxes. The $10,000 in this current fiscal year would also have the same net zero effect on your taxes. In future years, to maintain that property, that has a potential impact. The fire department will submit a budget request for approval to go through the normal town process, and presumably it will have money for maintaining that property.
Willington is 70 years old. But the point I want to make about it is that I think in a perfect world, this would have happened where the property, the plan is in place, the architectural drawings are done, everything is costed out, and then we look for property and buy the property and go on that. But that's not really the way things happen. The property became available. It's in a great location. It's adjacent to the firehouse. And they had a vision for using that property to the benefit of the town and continue providing the services they provided us for 75 years. So I think that what we're asking for now is town support for that vision.
Okay, is there any discussion? I'm sorry.
There's a motion to set the date, and then we have a meeting after the reading tonight, as we do the last date for the board of Washington.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
not less than between the hours of 12 o'clock. I apologize. Not less than between the hours of 6 o'clock a.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. and not more. To set the town office building as a polling place to set the hours of referendum during which votes may be cast, not less than between the hours of 12 o'clock noon and 8 o'clock p.m. and not more than between the hours of 6 o'clock a.m. and 8 o'clock p.m.
Second.
Can I just, has everybody handed in their ballots for questions 1 and 2? Is there anybody that hasn't? Now I need to say that. Oh, we're going to count them now so that when the end of the meeting. Is everybody okay with that?
Again, for these 2 minutes to speak, that we're sitting in the other. Unrelated topic was on the agenda. It's not on the agenda.
Just for conversation sake, the reason that date was chosen, it falls within the no less than 7, no more than 14. There's already a referendum scheduled for next Tuesday, the 10th, for the item 2019. Because of the time frame, these 2 items can be added to that same ballot. And that's after it's going to talk in a second.
I don't care how the town's going for, the referendum for the 10-25 department. The only question I want to know, Route 2 is going around trying to get a petition for the last town meeting. He couldn't get enough votes. So that means he could take all those votes and he goes around counting people again. So he could bring it up here, go to, so that means he had 2 chances to go around and go. I think the town ought to want, that means, if I want to go around, somebody could bring it up and say, I want the same time that he had to go around and get all the petitions against him. I just wanted to bring that out and go. I'm glad it's going this way, it's going and everything, but I think that, something is, ain't right. And I want the town people here to know what he was up to. Because every time I see him, he's so fine. Sorry.
So our town clerk put his
question did not change. He was able to use signatures collected during full time service.
But I'm just saying, asking if I want to go around and get a picture of people of the town, I would like to have them change time of the meeting. Just so the town people can be fair. Anybody else here would want to get a picture of them. I understand. But you should be fair, like all the other people can go tonight.
If the town meeting had happened the first time, if we hadn't been over capacity in the room, and or we had chosen to hold a meeting with people still outside, the position would not be so. There were not enough votes for that.
So what we're going to vote on now is to whether or not to have that referendum on December 10th from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it.
software, we had 45 votes for yes and 12 votes no. And on the second question for open space, we had 48 yes, and 11 no. So they both pass. He talked about both. People brought up both 50,000 and 100,000. Yeah, no worries.